And it's kind of a serious topic, but it's being discussed by the boys. So even though it's a serious topic, given who it's being talked about, we're going to get humor. Because the kind of consensual boys talked about Sig. They put this video out a couple days ago. We were going to, remember, it was a toss-up whether or not we were going to watch Brandon's Sig video or the boys' Sig video, because I didn't really want to watch them back to back. So this might be, considering it's the boys on kind of consensual, I think even though it's like a serious manner, the boys have a way of making the topic lighter. So it's serious stuff that can be discussed with humor. And I think this is going to be a good one to start off on. So let's see, particularly Rich, who is still active military and police, what the boys think about what's happening with Sig.
Speaking of one in the chamber, Sig.
Yeah.
Sig is the reason why people are like, I carry without one in the chamber. Oh. P320, huh?
Story.
Appendix? I wouldn't either.
You know who I feel bad for? Like the first 30 people that complained about this issue. Because like I remember when that happened. And like the first like 20, 30 people that were like, dude, my gun just went off by itself, got flamed by the entire gun community because like, no, gun.
Really? Is that true? Like when the issue of the 320 first came up, was the online community were they really going after him? People were calling crazy. Really? Oh wow. Those first people. Okay, Hawk, have a good night. Those first people the people that first brought up that, hey, the 320 is kind of just going off all on its own, and they were called crazy, they must be sitting back like, yeah, use the crazy one now, motherfucker. They've just got to be sitting back like with righteous indignation that honestly, I kind of am inclined to allow it for them to have any kind of righteous indignation against anybody about this. Yeah, they're basically sitting here like, I am vindicated, motherfucker.
Guns don't just go off by themselves. You're an idiot. You don't know how to handle a gun. Blah, 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 blah. Like they blamed them. I feel bad for those first 30 people. Because it was the gun.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm trying to write an actual skit. Rich, this is when I wish you lived closer, because then it's acting it out. But it is a skit where it's like, we've been watching feedback from the gun community. And the one thing we always say is guns don't kill people. People kill people. And by God, we need to fix that. That's why we are introducing the Sig 320, the first gun that kills people.
No.
That's really
you want to skip?
Oh my God, that sounds 100% like an Eli skit. Did he do that skit? I wonder, has Eli done that skit? If he did, I will watch it right the fuck now on stream. If he has done that skit. Strays, research Strays. I need to find out if Eli's done that skit. Yet. He may still be working on it. He could still be working on it.
I want to skit with Rich. Just have Rich in his cop uniform with a Glock pointed at you. Be like, drop the gun! And you like put your arms up in the air like, it's a P320! Okay!
Don't move!
Don't look at it! Set it down very carefully! Don't point it at anything!
No, don't set it down! Don't set it down!
Stop. More cops show up.
Oh,
it's you trying to defuse, but not knowing what to do.
Rich calls the bomb squad.
He's not wrong. At this point with the Sig P320, it's not wrong to call the bomb squad. Put it into like a bomb container. Just like put it in there, snap the link close real fast.
A guy in a suit comes up to take it from you.
We've got like him surrounded. He's just like,
God damn it, boys, you have the resources. Make this skit fucking happen. This has to happen. Please, for the love of God, the internet is begging you to make this happen. Please. The only thing I can think of that would be better, is when they go on tour, if they're all sitting down, because they're all going to be carrying, if when they all sit down, one of them comes out in a full bomb suit and goes, okay, I heard one of y'all got a Sig, or something like that. But like making a skit where one comes out in a bomb suit, acting like one of the other guys is carrying a Sig or something. That's the only thing that can be better, and unfortunately it wouldn't be recorded because it's their live shows and they would be recorded. But that would also be funny. Especially if Rich wears the Bob Ross wig. Rich, don't think I've forgotten. I want to see the Bob Ross wig on your head for at least one of the shows. I've got 1 or 2 strays attending at least one of your shows. I expect to get a report back from my strays that you wore the Bob Ross wig. I'm not joking. I expect to get a positive report back on this. I'm not letting this go. I am not letting this the fuck go. We need to see the wig. We need to see the Bob Ross wig on Rich. It must be done. The prophecy must be fulfilled.
Sitting there crying in his car with his hands up. They're like, Rich, what's going on? I'm like, he's got a P320. Oh, God. What do we do? I don't know. The poor son of a bitch is dead. Because either he's going to accidentally shoot himself or he's going to shoot and we're going to shoot him.
Oh, man. So I don't know.
Either way, we're happy he's white.
Oh, God, Rich. For fuck's sake, Rich.
Oh, my God.
What's his last name? Cuevas. He's brown. No! Shoot him. No, don't. How brown?
So I don't know all the details, and maybe you guys can fill me in just because I haven't looked into it. So the P320 is also the same as the pistol that the military picked up, right? The
Correct.
M18?
Yes.
And
M18 and M17. M18 and M17 are long barrel, short barrel, but that is the P320.
Okay, so started going off on its own. Everyone was like keeping it under wraps, and now an airman died from it going off on its own, and now the can of worms is open. Am I on there?
Speed of can of worms opening. Why don't you open your mouth more because your mic keeps cutting out again?
It's his internet connection.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you. Let me leave the call. Be right back.
That one, Nick was being facetious.
It's not the internet, dude. Get Starlink. You Eli up the take. You Eli it all up.
Oh, Rich.
You keep finagling with shit behind the.
But by the way, when they're talking about, when they talk about the thing with the airmen, don't forget, we saw in Brandon's video that it may or may not have been the result of the P320 with the airmen, because there was another airman that was arrested and is being charged with, what was it, like obstruction and I think manslaughter as well. So until we get more information from military about this, there is a possibility that the airman who lost his life might not have been because it was like falsifying an official report and manslaughter. So there's a possibility that the airman lost his life, may not have lost his life due to him setting his firearm down in its holster on the table and the firearm discharging without any, operator input. But we don't know yet. I mean, I was thinking about this, and I'm wondering if maybe what actually happened was the airman that was arrested, maybe it was his firearm that he set down on the table that discharged and struck the other airman, and this other airman lied about it to the I don't know what the Air Force equivalent of the MPs is, but lied to military police about the incident in question, and Well, that's the thing, Ryvin. We don't know. It's like I'm speculating. This is pure speculation. I've not heard of anything that's come from out of the Air Force or the military writ large. Okay, it's SF Scurry Force. Thank you, Grumpy. Yeah, we haven't heard anything come out of JAG. We haven't had anything come out of the Air Force. We haven't heard anything come out of, the Pentagon regarding this. So again, it's all speculation. We don't know if the airman's death was a result of Sig's defect, or if something more sinister happened at play. We don't know. But that was just what I was thinking about, considering he was arrested for falsifying report and manslaughter. Maybe this other airman, is the one that set his firearm down. It discharged and killed the other airman, and he lied about it for some reason. I mean, well, I'm not going to make a funny in that way, David, but yes, it is a theory. And I will freely admit, it's like I made it the fuck up because I'm just speculating. It is pure speculation. We have nothing from the military to substantiate anything yet. It's still under investigation. We'll see what happens when the investigation concludes.
Scenes, and nothing's good enough to keep it the way that it is. So every time we get together, there's some weird change you gotta do, and we gotta figure it out.
So the Sig 320, Sig's never said, "Oh, we have a problem." They did a post a few months back making fun of everyone, saying that the gun has never went off, and it was all a big lie. But originally, Sig 320 was going off when it would get dropped. Then they did a recall, made the trigger a smidge thinner, thinking that was the problem. Oh, we'll just lighten it up.
They didn't do a recall
as much.
They did.
Yeah, Rich is right. They didn't do a recall. They basically did I think it was voluntary, but I think they classified it as voluntary, but they basically offered an upgrade kit. They classified it as an upgrade kit, not a recall. And I believe it was voluntary. I don't want to misquote, but I believe it was a voluntary upgrade kit that they offered to Sig P320 owners. But it was not a recall. And therein lies the problem, is they didn't recall it. They just said, oh, here's an upgrade kit that will fix things for you. That didn't work. That's the key thing. Their upgrade kit didn't fix the problem.
Do a voluntary upgrade.
There he goes. The VU.
Oh. No. Rafaz, it was not a recall. They specifically avoided using the recall verbiage. They literally called it a voluntary upgrade kit. They did not recall anything. So they never used the words recall, which is, I think, where they're going to get a lot of trouble.
There it is. Sorry.
Voluntary upgrade program, which is not a recall because that would signify some sort of guilt or issue, right?
Wrong.
So it's dropped. It goes off. They do the VUP, the voluntary upgrade program, where you get a SEER, some sort of trigger assembly, and something else.
Let's see. So we've got an upgraded trigger that has reduced mass trigger profile. Reduced mass trigger has a thinner profile. So you can see here and here, thinner trigger. And okay, so it looks like they updated the slot. They upgraded, quote unquote, the slide where there's a disconnect notch in the slide. Okay. So they put some kind of disconnect notch in the slide. Well, that's the problem, Garrett. It doesn't. Because all they did was thin out the trigger here. They didn't address the issue, which was that if they didn't address the issue here and in the slide itself, like this disconnect notch didn't do anything. Oh yeah, sorry. There you go. There's the disconnect notch that they're talking about. And none of this fixed the problem. Because the problem in the trigger, as near as I could tell, was more along the lines of in here. It was inside here. It was not the thickness of the trigger itself. It was inside the lower receiver that any speck of dirt can cause the trigger to actuate even slightly, even like to the degree of a millimeter or less. And if the slide just shifted, the firing pin would strike the firing pin would strike the round, and the round would go off. No, they didn't. Well, I mean, and it was, yeah, I mean, it was, even this variant was essentially a literal hair trigger, because it would literally just take a hair in the trigger guard, like up in the well of the trigger, to make it go off. David, I heard about that. I don't know for sure. I did hear that as well, that they reissued Sig back to the military, but I don't know how factual that is, so I can't say yay or nay.
Mm-hmm. Which those three things all prevent drop firing and something else going off. I forget which, but specifically what was going on with it. Then a couple years later, when everybody's just like, "Hey, what the?" That's when they put out their post on Twitter and Instagram saying, "It's not our fault. It'll never fire unless the trigger," and I wish I had it in front of me right now, unless it's fully retracted. It will not fire unless the trigger is fully retracted.
Let me see that. All right. They have no evidence. Wait, where'd it go? The P320 cannot, under any circumstances, discharge without a trigger pull. That is a fact. So they don't, see, nothing more than ulterior motive, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so they don't actually say how much of a trigger pull. Because technically speaking, if a speck of dirt gets into the trigger well and moves the trigger even a millimeter, I could see a real slimy ass attorney saying, well, technically the trigger was moved. Again, a slimy ass piece of shit attorney saying that, not any rational individual. Global Security completes inspection of the M18 modular handgun system. As of August, have resumed carrying M18 after the inspection, deemed them safe and reliable to use. Oh, no. Oh, so the Air Force security is carrying them again. Oh, this is not going to end well. Oh, boy.
Fully retracted. It will not fire unless the trigger is fully retracted, which is horseshit. So, that was in March. Yeah. I think that was in March.
And you know what? You know why I bet they returned all the weapons in service? Because they don't want to spend money to replace them. They probably got rid of, I don't know what they were carrying before the N18. My guess is those have already been disposed of, and they probably don't want to pay to replace all of those firearms. Because that would not be an insubstantial cost to replace all those firearms. I don't know what metrics they used to say, oh, this is safe. Was it the M9? I wasn't sure if there was something in between the M9 and the M18. I couldn't remember if there was another SIG that had been rolled out into service after the Beretta. I couldn't remember. Like, in between the Beretta, in between the M9 and the M18, I couldn't remember if there was another pistol that had been rolled out into military service between those. Yeah, like Grumpy, maybe like the P226. I wasn't sure if that had been issued or not. Nope, it went straight from the M9 to the M17/18. Okay, cool. Okay.
I vote we put the CEO in a locked room and drop P320s into the room until he admits it.
Go fingers, we want him to pay, but not with his life. Okay? Yes, the CEO should pay. not with his fucking life, though. Okay.
It's recent.
of this year. Brandon did a video on it. In fact, I cut like a couple, like 15, 20 seconds out of his video, and I use it because he says some good words, and I enjoy his breakdown of some things. So I used Brandon's response to their original post. And then, yeah, well, it turns out you don't need to fully retract the trigger. The trigger only needs to be pulled back a 0.5 millimeter. And then the slide can be wiggled or pressed down, and then it will fire.
Yep.
And there was a fantastic guy. Let me go to my YouTube.
Was that the one that I saw on Twitter today where he had like a screw in there and he just squeezed it and it...
Yeah,
Wyoming.
Go ahead.
Wyoming Gun Project is the one that did it. Nick, go ahead and describe what he did with the screw, which is brilliant.
He basically just took the screw and used it as a wedge to hold the trigger back 0.5 millimeter, which like 0.5 millimeter is a piece of lint, a grain of sand, a chunk of whatever the gets in your trigger well, and then you can jostle the slide or squeeze it in any way and the gun will go off. So like for a cop, if he's got a piece of belly lint that makes his way into the wrong spot and it's in his holster.
Well, hell, how many holsters do police carry that have some kind of like cloth or a separate inner lining where the holster itself is not 100% like injection molded and the lining of the holster has like cloth or fabric or even some kind of like fuzzy material? Literally just holstering the weapon could cause some of that cloth to dislodge from the holster and slip into the trigger well. Or, Garrett, a hair from your head. If they're a canine unit, a hair from their dog. Yeah, literally anything. Literally anything.
And he's running, and the running jostles the gun. It's going off. And that's why there was, I think you showed it in your video, but I mean, there's footage of like a cop in a courthouse, like detaining somebody, and his gun is on his hip, and it just goes off in the holster. And that was that was the video that caused Sig to put out their post where it was like, it ends today. And they basically said that cop did something wrong with it. He holstered the gun wrong.
Red Time can no longer stay silent while lawsuits run their course and clickbait farming engagement, hacking, breakfast, blah, frickety, blah, blah. Combat the lies. Okay.
So that was a fucking lie.
Which I don't know how the you holster a gun wrong, but apparently that was their excuse. And then they're like, it ends today. And they were like, anybody that's perpetuating these lies is anti-gun and just trying to ruin the Second Amendment.
They pushed that
grifters.
They called it the rhetoric is high and we can no longer stay silent.
The rhetoric
run their course and clickbait.
God damn it, Eli. The rhetoric. That's as bad as Hypnotic mispronouncing cicada as ticada. Where'd you get out late? God damn it, Eli. English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
Farming, engagement, hacking grifters continue their campaign to hijack the truth for profit. Enough is enough. This was literally a few months ago. And then this shit fucking...
Still just dying.
Sorry, Eli.
What'd I say?
The rhetoric. I love
rhetoric. Sorry, I say rhetoric. I've always said rhetoric. I've always said rhetoric. I never say rhetoric. I was like, wait, what?
Oh man, I hate to be so rhetorical.
Rhetorical.
I've
always said rhetorical.
I understand why Eli doesn't read emails here on this podcast.
Because I'll say rhetorical and be like, that's how it's said.
Oh man.
God.
Oh, Rich was like Rich like had to put his head down on his desk. He was laughing so hard at that.
So there's like zero plausible deniability for Sig, and now the military is like, I know the Air Force backed off. Is the Army saying the same thing? Like, hey, we're not with this?
So it's not the whole Air Force. It's a command. It's the Global Strike Command or something like that. It's a significant portion of airmen. And what happened was this airman set his pistol down. It's not confirmed if it was in a holster or not. I'm assuming, because I've taken off my gear before, that he probably like looped off his shit and like put the whole kit and caboodle on the desk that he was at, and then it went off and it hit him, and then he ended up passing away. So that Global Strike Air Command, I'm jacking up its name, is like, that's it. Every command that's underneath us, every battalion, wing, etc., that's underneath us, we're shelving this for now. Take it away.
And
we're going to do more testing on it, or somebody is. We're not going to hold on to this shit if it's randomly going off and then randomly goes off and kills one of our own. All security forces are going to be having their M4s on them until we can figure this out. And then...
That's true. That's true, Reverend. They traded in their pistol for a rifle upgrade. Cool.
An army unit, and I saw it once, and I can't find it again. But somewhere an army unit did the same thing recently, where it said, "We're shelving this until further notice." And thank God the Air Force is the branch of common sense, because the Marines and the Navy and the Army don't give a shit when it comes to bad gear. It's just deal with it. I mean, look at our uniforms over the past GWAT, the blue bullshit digital that doesn't work, right? And then the Navy with its weird blue digital that would release dye when it would go in the water, except how do you wash it? Well, then the dye gets released in the washer. Stupid shit.
Actually carbine upgrade.
Rematter. Did you seriously just actually, did you really just, with a K, actually make it? No, Grey Matter, there's only one proper response for this.
That they just stuck with. Thank God for the Air Force and their common sense. And they're like, you know what? We're not going to ignore the stupidity. We're just not going to deal with it. This is wrong. All this information is out there, which shows that.
Okay, Giggle Fingers, I'm going to disagree. Pistols in the armed forces is not stupid. Particularly because when we're talking about basically the police MOSs for the various military services, because they function as police. They drive in basically military squad cars, and especially on base, it would not make sense for them to carry rifles or carbines, if you prefer Grey Matter, as opposed to carrying around a pistol. Not to mention, it's, pistols for the military function as a backup weapon. If you are in the middle of a firefight, and there's multiple reasons why a pistol it is a good thing to have in addition to your rifle. Anubis, like you said, it might be more appropriate to use a pistol for close quarters clearing, because the rifle is just too big to make tactical movement manageable. If you're in the middle of a firefight and something happens with your primary weapon where it jams, or God forbid you go dry on ammo and the firefight is still on, you still need a weapon. You can transition to your pistol and maintain the fight. So there are a lot of really good reasons why military personnel should carry either a pistol by itself in the case of MPs or the respective NPs of the varying branches, and for in the field. So it functions good as a backup weapon. And it doesn't take up much space. Like a single pistol and 1 or 2 spare mags doesn't take up that much space on your gear, on your LBE, and It's very good to function as a weapon for use in certain tactical situations or as a backup weapon. Yeah, but giggle fingers, worst possible scenarios can happen. The worst possible scenario can happen. You don't want it to happen, but it can happen. And that's the thing.
It's not going to deal with it. This is wrong. All this information is out there, which shows that what happened with us, with our incident with our airman, probably not his fault. We're shelving it. It's not worth the risk of a negligent discharge or an accidental discharge or a discharge caused out by the weapon and then somebody else getting hurt. Get them off the frickin' field. And I can't guarantee. I hope it happens with the rest of them and they can switch out and go to a frickin' Glock.
So Sig has been.
Oh, go ahead.
Sig has lost lawsuits for negligent discharges and had to pay money out. And their response to the so after the airmen got shot, a bunch of police departments and like shooting ranges and all kinds of people are banning shit. Sig just filed a lawsuit against some federal agency that banned the gun.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know if it was a federal agency.
Yeah, I don't think that was a federal agency. I think that was a police department, not a federal agency that they sued. I don't remember which one it was. Oh, I remember hearing about this. Research strays. Find out for me what police department got rid of their SIGs and then SIG tried to sue them to get them to carry it again. Because I'm guessing SIG sued them. I don't think it was the DC Capitol Police, Anubis. I do not believe so. It was another state. Like me, I can't remember. I'm thinking it's because the police department had a contract with SIG. Washington State Criminal Justice Training Program. That could be it, Leo. That could be it in Oregon. Thank you, Garrett. Yeah, and my guess is they had a contract with SIG, and that's why SIG is suing them, because they're probably stating it was like a violation of their contract, and that was why they sued them, which is still not a good look on SIG's behalf.
See, I think it was a large local or state agency, like the state of Washington or something.
Yeah, it might have been. But they filed a lawsuit, and they're suing them for banning their gun or whatever. It's like they're octupling down on this. And
I don't understand how you can sue a department or state or federal agency for saying we're not going to make this our duty gun anymore. Like, what the? How the?
My guess is it's a breach contract. The agency probably had a contract with SIG for their weapons, and when they said fuck this, we're not using your weapons anymore because of these issues with discharge, SIG probably is suing them for violation of contract. That is my guess. Well, I mean, Jeff, like, granted, I'm not saying SIG is in the right. Because the thing is I don't believe there has been what would be classified as empirical evidence. Bearing in mind, what the one YouTuber did where he showcased just how faulty it is, plus all of the ADs that have been occurring, obviously that should be more than enough proof. But I'm thinking that there's not been a contracted testing lab that has been hired to do the full tests and come out with an official report that says the firearm is faulty because of this reason, this reason, this reason, and because this department just said, based on the reports they've been receiving and all the news that SIGs have been discharging on their own, they just said, we're not going to do it. And so SIG is probably filing a lawsuit for breach of contract because the Academy probably had a contract with SIG to only use the P320. And when they said, yeah, we're not doing this anymore, then SIG is probably filing for breach of contract because there was been no official report from a credentialed lab saying the firearms are unsafe. And so that is very likely why they're being sued. Or why SIG is suing. That is my suspicion as to the rationale for it. Now, is it stupid as fuck for SIG to be suing them when this is such a high news item in the guns community? Yes, it is. But I'm guessing that would be the rationale behind Sig and their lawyers for filing this lawsuit.
Does that even make sense? I don't want to use this product anymore. I don't want to wear Nike Air Jordans anymore. And then Nike's going to sue me because I'm not buying any more of their product. It's the most retarded shit I've ever heard.
If Nikes blew up and my feet are gone, I would not want to wear them.
You buy your
fair.
Nikes from
You'd
Afghanistan.
be able to wear 'em.
Saying like, hey, you can't do that.
It was Washington's Police Academy.
So there you go, the Washington State Police.
Sig Sauer quietly filed a suit in Thurston County Court last month asking a judge to reverse the Washington State Criminal Justice Training Commission's decision to ban police recruits from carrying the P320 model handgun. Huh.
God. Has this ever happened?
Garrett, gamer, you're thinking of Reebok, not Jordans. Reeboks are the ones that had the pump, where you could pump air into your Reeboks via a little, like, ball on the tongue of the shoe. That's Reebok, not Nike. Although I appreciate the effort.
Been before in the U.S. anywhere? Like, has a gun? I mean, all throughout history, has a gun come out that was just so wild?
Yes. Okay. Side tangent type. Yes. I saw these on Nostalgia Critics, like, commercials, stuff that he does, when he does his commercial things. I saw these on one of Nostalgia Critics commercials. This was back in, God, it must have been the 80s, maybe the early 90s. No, actually, probably would have been early 90s. Reebok came out with a shoe, a basketball shoe, that on the tongue of the shoe would basically be like a basketball, like an actual, like, three-dimensional basketball on the tongue of the shoe, and it was hollow, and you would basically pump the basketball on the tongue of the shoe, and it would inject air into, like, the sides of the shoes. That was a legit thing. I think it was early 90s. And they even showcase it for anyone that's seen Robin Hood Men in Tights. If anybody's seen Robin Hood Men in Tights, they had a cameo when Dave Chappelle's character at the beginning of the movie, and they get surrounded by the merry men, and he goes, "Time out, bad guys. I am running out of air," and he leans down and he's wearing a pair of Reebok pumps, and he pumps up his shoes. So yeah, they even had a cameo in Men in Tights. It was a gimmicky thing in, like, late 80s, early 90s.
Didn't they make a song about them?
I don't think so, at least as far as I know. You're thinking of the song that, like, all the other kids with their pumped up ticks. I don't think that was about Reebok pumps. I think, I'm not 100% sure because I barely know the song. I don't think it was about the Reebok pumps. But again, I could be wrong. And by the way, I missed some Scented Waffle, Tamatom, and Grave God. Thank you all for the follows over at Kick.
In the U.S. anywhere? Like, has a gun? I mean, all throughout history, has a gun come out that was just so wildly dangerous that the powers that be were like, no, thank you. Like, I don't know if this has ever happened. This is not the history I'm familiar with. Just curious.
So there's been bad guns that don't fire or jam when you want them to. Mm-hmm. There haven't been so many guns that I can think of, like, even in, like, and I like Forgotten Weapons. I can't even think of a firearm where it would just go off randomly.
Mass-produced guns that are also backed by governments or used in military or governments. That has never happened, I don't think. Like, period. Most guns, if you place them on safe or set them down, they just don't go off. I'm actually, Yeah,
there are guns that, especially if they have what's literally called a hair trigger, that may not necessarily have been all that drop safe that could have gone off, but nothing there's nothing that I can think of to the level of the P320 going off all by itself. Nothing of that, like, where it takes just the barest minuscule input on the gun like on the slide to make it go up. No, there's nothing in firearm history that I can think of that was this bad. That was mass produced.
Yeah, has there ever been a gun that just goes off?
I don't think there has been, but that could just be
revolvers with wax. But that's because another.
I can't think of another gun that has gone off like that, but that just could be anti-gun rhetoric.
Oh,
Fucking rigged. God. Oh, that was funny. That was good, wasn't it?